going to crochet this adorable little pocket penguin. It is completely no-sew, meaning you do not do any sewing at all. It's all worked using crochet methods. This little guy is quick and easy to work up. He's beginner friendly, and I hope you will enjoy my tutorial. Be sure to follow along with the written pattern on the screen, or if you'd like to support me as a pattern designer, I do have the printable PDF available for purchase. Links are in the description box. Thank you so much for supporting me, and let's check out the materials. For this penguin project, you're going to need a few materials. You'll need some super bulky weight yarn. I'm using this 100% polyester chenille velvet yarn here, and I have that linked in the description box. You will need it in a few colors, including light gray for the wings and the body, white for the face, and dark gray for the head. You'll also need orange for the beak and the little feet. With the yarn, I'm using 5mm crochet hook here. You'll also need a pair of scissors and some fiberfill stuffing. And I'm using 12mm plastic safety eyes for this little guy here. But you can also use smaller eyes like 10mm. And I think both are very cute. All right, let's get started on the crochet instructions. Let's go ahead and crochet the wings. For the wings, you're going to start off with light gray yarn. And for round 1, we are going to chain 2. That's 1 and 2. And then in that second chain from your hook, you are going to insert 6 single crochets. So here I'm going to put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 single crochets. Alternatively, you can use the magic ring method and put 6 single crochets in a magic ring. However, with plush yarn, it's usually difficult to pull the magic ring shut without snapping your yarn. So that's why I use the chain method for this. All right, and for round 2, we're going to start off with 2 single crochets and then increase, and you repeat that around for a total of 2 times. So here's what it'll look like. In that first single crochet, you're going to single crochet in the next one, and then you're going to increase in that next stitch. Here are 2 single crochets in the same stitch for my increase, and I'm repeating this again. So 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, and here is my increase. Your total end of stitch count should be 8. And I'm going to kind of push my wings out so that the right side faces out and the wrong side is in. Let's continue working on round 3. For round 3, you're simply going to single crochet around, and you're going to go for all the way around, so that's 8 single crochets. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 single crochets. All right, that's that for round number 3. For round 4, you're going to single crochet 3 and then increase, repeating that twice around for a total of 10 single crochets. So that's 1, 2, 3 single crochets, and then an increase in this next stitch. So putting 2 single crochets in the same stitch. Let's do that again. Single crochet 1 and 2 and 3, and then we're going to increase in this stitch. Now we're going to single crochet all the way around, and that's going to be 10 stitches total for round number 5. So let's go ahead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 single crochets. And now we're going to start on round number 6. For round 6, we're going to increase again. That's 4 single crochets and then an increase. So we're going to repeat that twice. So let's go ahead with single crochet 1, 2, 3, and 4. And in this next one, I'm going to increase with 2 single crochets in the same stitch. Repeat that again. Single crochet 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we're going to increase in this next stitch. Now we're going to start on round 7, which is just single crocheting around and putting 1 single crochet in each stitch. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And now for the very last round of the wings, round 8, we're just going to decrease all the way around for 6 stitches. So a decrease is crocheting 2 stitches together. Insert your hook into that first stitch, yarn over and pull a loop through, go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through. With these 3 loops on your hook, you're going to yarn over and go through all 3 loops. That's a decrease. So let's do that again for a total of 6 times. That was our first decrease. Now for our second decrease, pull out of that first stitch, pull out of that next stitch, and go through all 3 loops. All right, here's my third decrease, my fourth decrease, my fifth decrease, and my sixth decrease. And at this point, you're going to fasten off with a bit of a yarn tail just so your work doesn't become unraveled. And what you can do is actually just set your wing off to the side. We are going to attach it to the body in a no-sew method. So you don't need to actually have a long yarn tail for sewing. Just a shorter tail is good enough, and this will be woven in later. And your next job is to simply make 2 wings so that you are ready to start on the body. Let's work on the body of our penguin. For the body, you're going to continue using light gray yarn. And for round 1, we're going to start with 2 chains. That's 1 and 2 chains. And in that very first chain that you made, you are going to insert 8 single crochets. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Alternatively, as mentioned before with the wings, you could use the magic ring method, but with plush yarn, it's much easier to do the chain method. Now, we're going to increase all the way around. So for round 2, I'm working into that first single crochet and putting in 2 single crochets in that same stitch. And continue all the way around until you have 16 single crochets total. Now, after you've gone 16 stitches all the way around, we're going to start on round 3. You're going to single crochet and increase all the way around. That will be 8 repetitions. So it'll look like this, and if you want, you can use a stitch marker to kind of mark the beginning of your round. An actual stitch marker would be great, but if you're cheap and lazy like me, you can use a piece of yarn scrap to mark where the start of your round is. So I'm going to single crochet and then increase, single crochet and then increase, single crochet and increase, and again working all the way around, repeating this sequence. Once you've worked all the way around, you are done with round number 3. And for rounds number 4 all the way to 8, all you're going to do is just single crochet around. So putting 1 single crochet in each stitch, like so. No increasing, no decreasing, just straight rounds for the next few. Let's meet back at the end of round number 8. Here I have round 8 complete. You'll see that your penguin's body now looks more like a little 3D shape. And for round number 9, we're going to move on with 6 single crochets and a decrease, repeating that 3 times around. And I'm just going to move my stitch marker up here to mark the start of my round. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 single crochet stitches. And in the next one, I'm going to do a decrease, like so. Now I'm going to do 6 single crochets again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And now I'm going to decrease. Keep going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And a decrease. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to round number 10. For round 10, you're going to single crochet 5 and then decrease 3 times around. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now we're going to decrease. Repeat that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and decrease. And repeat that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and decrease. All right, and for this next round, round number 11, you're just going to single crochet and decrease all the way around. That's a total of 6 times. Here's what it'll look like. Single crochet, decrease. Single crochet, decrease. Single crochet, decrease. Single crochet, decrease. crochet, decrease, single crochet, and decrease. There we go. All right, now that you're done with round number 11, we're going to now join the wings for your penguin. And for round 12, what we're going to do is basically crochet the wings to the body, going through both of those layers, the wing and the body layer. So you'll need to get your wings ready. So for round 12, we're going to start off with 3 single crochets. That's 1, 2, and 3 single crochets. And then you're going to grab one of the wings. And what you're going to do is you're actually going to attach it to the body with 3 single crochets by inserting your hook into both the wings and the body layers at the same time. So when you hold the wings flat, the top 6 stitches can be folded flat to 3 stitches. So if you go through both layers like this, you're going to insert your hook into the body as well. And here I am going through both the wings and the body together for 1, 2 single crochets, and 3 single crochets, like so. When you do that, you'll notice that the wings are just crocheted directly to the body, and it's a very clean way of attaching limbs without needing to sew at all. Now for the next part, you're just going to single crochet 3 on the body alone. 1, 2, and 3. We're going to attach the next wing with 3 stitches as well. So hold the top of your wing shut, and we're going to go through the 2 layers. Let's go through these 2 first, and go into that next stitch in the body. All right, 2 layers of the wing, 1 layer of the body. I'm going to single crochet them together. Now I'm going to the next stitch in the wing and in the body. Single crochet them together. And that last stitch in the wing and the body, and single crochet together. As you can see, after you've done that, you will have your 2 wings attached to the body, and there should be 3 stitches in the front and 3 stitches in the back. So that concludes round number 12. And what you'll do now is, without fastening off, we are basically going to continue with the head instructions, and we will be switching to a different color. We're now going to continue working on the head by switching to white yarn. So what I like to do is to pull out half of my previous stitch and pull through white yarn, or the yarn that you want to switch color to. And then we'll continue from there. So for round 13, we're going to work in front loops only. Do a single crochet and an increase all the way around. Here's what it's going to look like. In this first stitch, I'm going to work only into that front loop, and I'm going to do a single crochet And then that next front loop, I'm going to increase, putting 2 single crochets in the same stitch and repeating that around with a single crochet and an increase. Single crochet, increase, single crochet, increase, until you reach the end of the round. And in that very last stitch, instead of pulling all the way through with white yarn, we're going to now attach the dark gray yarn. And this will be the start of the next round. So I'm going to pull that dark gray through. And what I'll do in that first stitch, this is for now for round 14, is we're going to single crochet 2. So here that's 1 and 2 single crochets. Then I'm going to increase in that next stitch. That's 2 single crochets in the same stitch. Then I'm going to single crochet 2 again. And we're going to switch to white yarn at that point. So finish off that last single crochet with white yarn. And at this point, you can go ahead and detach the light gray yarn because we're done using that. But you'll want to keep the dark gray and the white on your project because we're going to switch back between the white and the dark gray quite frequently. So I'll show you what that will look like. With the white yarn you have right now for round 14, you're going to increase in that next stitch, 2 single crochets in the same stitch. Then you're going to single crochet 2 and increase 3 times. So let's do that. Single crochet 2 and increase. This is the first repetition. Single crochet 2 and increase. This is the second repetition. And then single crochet 2 and increase. And that's the third repetition. Now we're going to single crochet 3. That's 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to be switching back to the dark gray. So I'm going to finish off that third single crochet with the dark gray. And we are going to actually insert a single crochet using the dark gray in that very last stitch, making it into an increase. So those 2 stitches in that last round, or in that last stitch. Now for round 15, we're going to single crochet 7 in the dark gray yarn. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And before you switch to the white, we're going to finish off that dark gray stitch with white yarn, like so. Make sure the inside isn't pulled too tight, otherwise your penguin head will be scrunched up. So I want to make sure this part is lax. Give it some leeway. And now for the white, we're going to single crochet 16 stitches. Let's go around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. And for that 16th stitch, we're going to switch back to the dark gray yarn. Again, keep that yarn lax on the inside, otherwise your penguin's head will get scrunched up. And you're going to use the dark gray yarn to make 1 single crochet to finish off that round. Now we're ready to jump to round 16. For round 16, we're going to single crochet 8 in this dark gray yarn. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And finish off with white yarn because we're going to switch to white now. Keeping that tail lax inside. And now in the white yarn, you're going to single crochet 7. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And by the way, if you want to not have any dark gray showing beneath the beak, just continue in white yarn. You don't have to switch. If you want to put some dark gray yarn at this point, you can, and just use dark gray to single crochet that next stitch. But if you don't want to, just continue on like I'm doing right now. So put 1 more single crochet in that next stitch instead of using dark gray, and then continue on with 7 stitches in white. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And we're going to switch to dark gray yarn. For a single crochet in that next stitch, like so. All right, and that's that for round number 16. For round 17, we're going to use the dark gray and single crochet 9. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Switching to white now. Using the white yarn here for round number 17. Using the white yarn, you're going to single crochet 6. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And here I'm going to switch to dark gray, okay? because in the next 2 stitches, you're going to use dark gray yarn to single crochet twice. That's 1 and 2. And you'll switch back to white, like so. Then you're going to single crochet 6 in white. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And switch to the dark gray again. And in the dark gray, you're going to single crochet 1 more to finish off that round. Now you'll notice that your penguin has a bit of dark gray in the center of its face, and that's going to be starting off its markings. Now for round 18, we're going to use that dark gray yarn to single crochet 10. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then you're going to switch to the white yarn. And I'm just pulling it to make sure that there's enough of a lax stretch here in the inside. Don't want my penguin's face to scrunch up. Now in the white yarn, I'm just going to single crochet 5. That's 1 stitch, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And let's switch to the dark gray again. In the dark gray, we're going to single crochet 3. That's 1, 2, and 3 stitches. And in the white, we're going to single crochet 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And switching back to the dark gray, we're just going to single crochet 1 to finish off our round. Here's your little penguin so far. And let's go ahead and work on the next round. For round number 19, in dark gray yarn, you're going to single crochet 11. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Then you're going to single crochet 4 in the white yarn. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Switch back to the dark gray. Single crochet 4 in the dark gray. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then you're going to single crochet 4 with the white yarn. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And switch back to the dark gray. And then we'll single crochet one at the end. All right. Once you've got that done, you can be ready to attach the plastic safety eyes. For the plastic safety eyes, you're welcome to use whatever size you'd like. This penguin uses 10mm eyes, which has a nice sort of standard look. If you like larger eyes, you can use 12mm, as I'm using here in this one. But again, I think 10mm or 12mm work really well. So once you're ready to attach the eyes, you're basically going to attach them between rounds 16 to 17 and counting up from round 13, which is where we started the head. That's 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. So right between 16 and 17 is where you want to be. And I'm counting it 3 stitches from the color change. So that's 1, 2, 3 stitches. And you're going to do that on the other side as well. So counting from the color change, that's 1, 2, and 3 stitches. And you'll put your eye in there. And once you're happy with the positioning, you can go ahead and attach those plastic safety eyes. And you're ready to keep going. You can go ahead and stuff the head at this point and keep stuffing as you work along. If you haven't fully stuffed the body yet, now is a good time to do it as well. After you've attached the penguin's eyes and stuffed the head and body, you can go ahead and move on to round 20. And at this point, you'll no longer need white, so you can fasten off with a bit of a tail and weave that in later. Now I'm going to continue with round number 20. For round 20, again using dark gray yarn only from here on out, we're going to single crochet 2 and decrease all the way around. So it'll look like this. 1, 2, and decrease here, going into the 2 stitches and single crocheting them together. Let's keep repeating that around. Single crochet 2 and decrease. Repeat that again. Single crochet, single crochet 2. Keep getting messing up here. Sorry about that. And now here's my decrease. Wow, sorry, today's not my day. Okay, here we go. Single crochet 2, decrease, single crochet 2, decrease, single crochet 2, and decrease. And that concludes round 20. For round 21, you're just going to single crochet and decrease all the way around for a total of 12 stitches. Let's go ahead and do that. Single crochet, decrease, single crochet, decrease, single crochet, decrease, repeat around. For the next round, round 22, we're going to decrease all the way around, and that's going to go down from 12 to 6 stitches. So the whole of your penguin's head is going to be kind of small. What you'll want to do is make sure you fully stuff the head at this point before it gets closed up completely. So I'm just going to add a little more stuffing to round out the head here. And let's go ahead and decrease around. So that's going to be 6 decreases. 1, 2, oops, got too aggressive with my hook here. I'm sorry for the squeakiness. Here's 3. Here's the 4th decrease. 5. And 6. After you finish round 22, you can fasten off with a tail, and you're going to use this tail to sew up the hole at the top of your penguin's head. I like to use a really large-eyed yarn needle for this, and I just go through the front loops of the last round. So go into the first front loop, go out the next front loop, in the next front loop, out the next, in, and then out. Once you go through all the stitches, you're going to pull tight to cinch up the hole, and then you can go ahead and weave your yarn ends in to the penguin's head. When you're all done, just fasten off that yarn tail, and your penguin's head and body is complete. Now all you have to do is the little beak and the feet. Let's get ready to crochet the beak for our little penguin here. You're going to start by inserting your hook between round 16 to round 17 of the head and body. And that's basically the round where you have inserted your plastic safety eyes. So in between 16 and 17, find that center stitch. It's easy to find because it's just right between the 2 dark gray stitches. And you're going to attach some orange yarn or yellow yarn, whatever you're using for your penguin's beak. After you attach it, make a chain, like so. And then you're going to yarn over, insert your hook into the same stitch, yarn over, and yarn over, insert your hook into the same stitch, yarn over, and pull up a loop. You should have 3 loops on your hook. So that's 1, let me show you here, 1, 2, and 3 loops. Then you're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 of those loops. Like so. And then you're going to fasten off with a tail. And have a long enough tail so that you can pull it into the body or pull it into the head and weave it in. So I've got this now, and you're gonna basically pull it into that same stitch here. Let's get that tail in there. There we go. And you're gonna pull in that starting yarn tail as well. And that's your little penguin's beak. Go ahead and stuff in all those loose ends. I know it's poking out of my penguin's head here, which looks really funny. All right, and that's that. Let's go ahead and crochet the feet of our penguin. You're gonna start by counting up the rounds. We're gonna put the feet between rounds 3 and rounds 4. So that's round 1, 2, 3, and 4. So between 3 and 4, I've inserted my hook, and you can choose to have your penguin's feet wider apart or further together in the middle. I'm kind of choosing for them to be a little closer to the middle. But again, it's really up to you for placement. So here, once you've got your hook ready inside your penguin, you're going to attach that orange yarn like so. And for the feet, what you're going to do is chain 2, slip stitch in the end chain from your hook, and then you're going to slip stitch back into the same stitch in the body, doing this 3 times for 3 little toes. Let me show you how it's done. Chain 2, and then we're going to insert a slip stitch in the second chain from the hook, right here. All right, and then you're going to insert your hook back into that same stitch into the body and pull through for a slip stitch. That's my first toe. I'm going to do that again. So chain 2, 1 and 2, slip stitch into the second chain from your hook, then slip stitch back into that same stitch in the body. And let's do that one more time. Chain 2, slip stitch into that second chain from your hook, slip stitch back into the body. Once you've repeated that 3 times, you should have 3 little defined toes, as you can see. And we can go ahead and fasten off with a yarn tail, because you're going to pull the ends through into your penguin's body. So I'm going to fasten off with a long enough tail here. Oops, here's the little feet. And I'm going to pull these yarn ends into the body, and I'm just using my hook here because I don't like busting out my yarn needle. All right. And get that starting yarn tail in too. So now that you've gotten that done, you are ready to repeat the instructions for the next foot. And it's basically the same exact way, only you're going to insert your hook into that new position in the body. Remember, it's still between rounds 3 and rounds 4, so you're going to find a stitch there that you think will be a good next spot for your foot, which I think, let me look at it the right side up. I think that's about right. All right. Thanks for crocheting along with me. I hope you really enjoyed making this little penguin. Be sure to share your creations with me in my Facebook group, Sweet Softies, Amigurumi, and Crochet Community, or you can go ahead and share on Instagram as well. Tag me at Sweet Softies and I'd love to see your creations. All right, happy crocheting now. Bye!